Hello, everybody. We just got off the road from Revolution, and it was a heck of a ride. Mr. Rick, unreal show, huh?
Yeah, unbelievable. AEW always does a great job at the pay-per-view. Like, I don't think that they've ever had a pay-per-view where I've been disappointed.
Agreed.
They're always well worth the time and the money. But this was incredible. This was an excellent show.
It was. Well, I mean, we're going to go over it here, but every match, like, outdid the last one, but didn't make it unimportant, if that makes any sense.
Right, and nothing missed. There was no match where it was kind of, not that good. Like,
Yes.
Nothing let you down.
Yeah, I mean, everything delivered. Everything was it was fun. It was just an all-in-all good show. And first match on the card, Jericho versus Ricky Starks. I thought it was a great start, a great match to start. Excuse me, just because everybody knew what it was,
Right?
And it was like the blow-off match. You were kind of going to set the tone. It was just fun.
And it was a good match. It was a better match than I thought it was going to be. Very good match.
It was a good match. They went back and forth. Jericho worked Stark's ribs. I thought that was, I mean, that's typical Jericho, like the old school.
Yeah.
But it was just fun.
I always want to know, what does the tape on, what's it supposed to do? Like that one band of tape.
I know.
It's not like a lot of, it's just like one, but like, I'm not blaming Ricky, like it's a wrestling thing, but like
right.
One band of tape around his ribs, like what's that doing? Why are you even wearing that? Like,
exactly.
I think JR was just like, I would just not wear the tape. It's obvious that this just makes it obvious that you're injured. Like,
yes, and the one thing that didn't happen that usually happens is the person is usually picked up by the tape
right
at some point and like slammed it or something.
Right, like didn't DDP have tape on his ribs for like a year?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure he did.
Yes, I forgot about that.
In like 97 or something. Yeah, because we're old.
Yeah, that's also true.
But yeah, great match. Right, the right winner. Perfectly happy with it.
It was clean. And it was clean.
I wonder if there's ever is there gonna be any, do you think there's gonna be any fallout? Because Sammy showed up. I know he didn't do anything, but he showed up and they were supposed to be banned.
Well, I was gonna say, first and foremost, Action Andretti destroyed Sammy Guevara on that tackle. Like, the AEW has their cameramen hit that perfect angle. They hit their mark every time.
Yeah, like when Takeshita came out a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
They know exactly where to be, and you get fooled because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's gonna go. Wow, he just got destroyed. Like, I don't know. It's just, I like it. If I
was Sammy, I would argue that they said JAS banned from ringside, and he wasn't actually at ringside. He never made it to ringside.
He didn't make it.
He just got to like the entryway. That's the ramp. They didn't say JAS is banned from the ramp. They're banned from the ring.
That is very true.
Yes, good match though. Good win. I hope this is it. But not that I didn't even like the feud is fine. But I just hope it's over.
I think it's.
It seems like it is. It definitely seems like it is.
And I think that Action Andretti thing, if anything, I think we're going to see Sammy and Action Andretti again, which I'm okay with.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. What do you think is next for Ricky Starks?
I don't know. After the main event, I could totally see him going after the world title.
I could see that. Other than he pretty recently had a title match.
Oh, that's true. He just did the
and like that winner's coming. It was in December. It was in December. Yeah, so that was pretty recently.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll be like a main event. He's beat. Say what you want, like we say what we want about Jericho all the time, but like beating Jericho does put you in a main event type role, especially the angle that they had where he basically beat him twice. it does put him
Yeah.
like he's not going to go to like lower card feuds again unless something
No.
unless
Like,
something bad happens.
Yeah, like he's not even going to be like. I don't even think he's going to be for like the TNT title, even though I
Right.
think he'd be a good TNT title holder. But so that's an interesting question. I don't know. I mean, don't forget there's also other brands now. Maybe
Right.
go after Claudio
Yeah. I mean,
for like
AEW does seem to be and Claudio's a good option because AEW does seem to be lacking heels that people boo at this point.
Yeah.
And BCC seems to kind of be turning heel. So yeah, that's an option.
Say that.
That's an option for sure.
I mean, it gives Ricky a championship, and I don't want to say it's a lower championship. I mean, it would be that he's champion of the brand,
Right.
But I don't know. That would make sense
Yeah,
too.
that would make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're only 24 hours away, so
there you
go. Moving right along. I think AEW delivered probably the most entertaining casket match ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure. I agree. Someone pointed out, I forget who it was on the internet, like I never write these things down, but someone pointed out they made enough changes to both the Iron Man match setup, like the formula, and the casket match, burial match, whatever you're calling it, formula, that it made it more interesting. Like having the casket at the top of the ramp, I think was better than having it at ringside.
Totally. It was. I mean, I obviously like you're used to like the WWF/WWE casket matches, and usually the Undertaker.
Right.
And not that there's anything wrong. Like some of those matches, especially the Buried Alive match with him and Mankind, whenever Kane was involved, and that was fantastic.
Right.
But like you said, this was just different enough. This wasn't like, oh, we're copying you outright.
Right.
But it's like the same thing, but you change it just enough. You move some stuff around. You make it like a super special match. Like it made sense. Like what did Christian said? Like you're gonna win, or Jungle Boy said, I'm gonna win championship this year, and Christian said over my dead body.
Right.
Tie it all together. That's fantastic.
Even like they were wearing like different gear. Like Christian had his like cut off turtleneck thing going on. Jungle Boy had jeans. Like they dressed differently for the match, which I liked.
Yeah, and I mean it was brutal. I mean the whole spot was like the shovel used as a choke, and then in Christian's mouth, and
and the whipping him with the belt. Like it was a good match.
Whipping him with his own belt. Yeah,
it was a good match, and a lot of the matches on this card they told really good stories through the course of the match.
They did. Yeah, they did. Everything was, I don't want to say like 50-50, but they were very balanced matches, as in everybody knew the stories going in, and both sides got their licks in to suffice their fans, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And when Jack Perry did the leap of faith, we're going to call it, off the stage.
Yeah.
First off, that was insane. Second off, how a grown man could jump onto another grown man, and somebody not like, I don't know, like something fall out of socket or something.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like, it just does not I don't understand that to save my life. And the fact that he did it with like there was a pad there, but I mean, I don't care.
That's the thing. JR's pointed that out before. People talk about like, there's padding around the ring. Yeah, there is, but you're still jumping, 10 feet in the air. So like, right, you land on a pad, but it's still 10 feet in the air, right? So like,
yeah, you're not falling into like a giant pool of cushions.
It's not like a bouncy castle, right? Like,
right? Yeah, it's literally like a 1-inch pad. Like,
right. I mean, so yeah.
But and again, this was another clean win. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Barry's Christian, and I love the little thank you.
Yeah, and he was emotional about it. He was kind of he didn't want to do it, and then he did it, and then he was like, he thanked. It was great. It was a perfect ending.
It was so good. So good.
Now I know there's a rumor, or not rumor, people on the internet are talking that Christian's done. This was like the way to write him off TV. What do you think of that?
I mean, that makes perfect sense if that's what you do, but I mean, to me, he's too valuable of a human. You don't keep him backstage.
Right.
Like, I mean, he's still valuable to work with other people, but I mean, as far as television goes, he's basically had like well, I mean, this feud started like in early fall.
Yeah.
I mean, this feud went.
Yeah.
And people cared about it. Like, this was an old school multi-month, multi-match feud, and it drew. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Watched it. So
I think he might be off for a little bit. Like, he's going to sell this a little bit.
Definitely.
But I can't see him either only working backstage, or honestly, I can't see him leaving AEW because he's got more opportunity in AEW than he's got really anywhere else in his career. And like TNA, yes, but AEW is bigger than TNA at this point. Like,
right, and of course, the WWE people say go back to WWE, but like for him, like a lot of those guys from the '90s always say, like, there's nothing left for them there. No offense,
right?
But like, what's he going to do? Is he going to go back and then they're going to, either probably use him wrong or put him with Edge, and then he'll be a second fiddle again.
Right. Like, the only possible way I could see him going back is if Edge is retiring in the summer and they want to have their last match against each other. That's the only possible way I could see him going back.
And more power to him. And if they would let him come back as this character, to be like, oh, who are you? Blah blah blah. That would be. I'd watch every segment.
Yeah,
that they would have together. I'd watch WWE
for sure. But I think he'll be back. I definitely think he'll be back.
Same here. I just think he's enjoying this too much, and the schedule, like.
Yeah, and he's getting the respect that he deserves in this role.
Totally.
So, yeah, definitely.
And his face is respected. It's not a non-TV face.
That's right.
There was a theme throughout every match that I was trying to say this before I got off topic. Everything was, even the heel wins were fairly clean wins. I think this was basically not a total clean slate, but I think there was a lot of this is over, and tomorrow night is going to set up a whole new, probably set up the summer.
I agree. And it was a lot of the newer / younger guys going over clean.
Yes, it was.
Like, it was people like Ricky Starks and Jack Perry, and we'll get to the other ones later, but they were all, the newer guys or the younger guys or the in most cases, the less famous of the group. And not that's not an insult, but like MJF is not as famous, in the wrestling world as Bryan Danielson or, House of Black versus the Elite. Like, so it seems like it's setting up like a next, not like a next, like they're not going to bypass the other guys because it's not like they're old, right? But they're just, it seems like they're setting up a new wave of AEW talent to be top level guys.
I agree. And that was a perfect segue you had about the Elite and the House of Black, because that was the next match. And I mean, the Elite always deliver. I mean, this was lights out. I mean,
until the main event happened, I was like thinking about this throughout the course of the paper. Until the main event happened, this was my match of the night. Like this, I loved this match. I thought it was excellent.
It was, I mean, it was like nonstop in like the best way possible.
Yeah. And it was nonstop, but nonstop that made sense. Like it wasn't, I've said this before, a lot of the knock people have on the Bucks is like a lot of their spots seem pretty contrived. Like, okay, you're going to stand here and then I'm going to set this up and I'm going to stand here and then a chain of things will happen and like, it looks cool and it's athletic, but like, it doesn't seem like that would never happen in like a wrestling match realistically. But like these matches, yes, there was all kinds of, double teams and triple teams and great moves, but they all kind of made sense. Like there was a reason. Oh, there's a reason this guy's standing here. There's a reason he's doing this, right? Like it
Yes.
was really good.
And it was just, please give us Kenny versus Malachi.
Oh, that's all I want. It's all I want. Like the action between the two of them was so good, and the crowd was so like the crowd wanted more of it. Like
yes,
it was great. Like I really we need to have a Kenny Omega Malachi Black like sing even just one match. You know, they just have a match. Like just give them 20 minutes or something, and to have a singles match, it would be outstanding.
I mean, I know Malachi did it to Cody too, but he might have even did it in WWE. I'm not sure. But when they do, like, they're going back and forth with their exchanges, and then he gets the last punch in, and the other person takes the bump, and then he does the little spin into like the sitting
right
on the mat, just staring at you.
It's
so cool.
It's
cool. It's so cool. But again, talking about people being like spotlighted, and not only did the House of Black, obviously they won, but I think the two lesser knowns of the match really shined in Brody King and Buddy Matthews.
Yeah, Brody King definitely especially got they both did, but Brody King especially got a really big spotlight on him. Like he looked incredible. Anytime he was in the ring, he was like destroying people. It was clearly a showcase of Brody King, and he deserves it. He's great. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and I mean even Julia, like the part that she played and the V trigger that she took.
Yeah,
poor Julia, but.
Yeah, amazing match. I loved it. I thought it was wonderful.
Yes.
The right winner too. I think I was surprised. I didn't pick the Elite. I didn't pick the House of Black. I picked the Elite to win.
Same here. I picked the Elite.
But it was the right winner, I think,
it totally was.
Because the Elites. My knock on the Elite a couple weeks ago or last week or whatever was they haven't been like their matches have been good, but they haven't really done anything interesting character wise, like storyline wise.
Yes.
And I think this is an opportunity for both the Elite to do something, either as a group or as a, Omega separately and the Bucks as a team. And it also opens up a lot of opportunities for storylines with the House of Black, like what they're going to do next now that they have belts.
Yeah. I really hope that they just let Malachi be. I don't want them to be fighting champions right away. Like I would love for him to like how they kind of injected themselves into like the Elites doing. I hope that's how they challenge people.
Yeah. I would like for them to kind of like torment people for a while.
Yes. Yeah, like
show up and be in the shadows and haunt them, kind of. Yeah. Or have Julia be there, but not the rest of them. Or that would be really good.
Yeah, and then of course you're going to get the awesome Malachi promo. That's going to be the dark room where they step in and out of the light, and that'll set up every match for them, and that'll be perfect. But the actual challenging of the matches, I don't think they need every week. That's
right. I agree.
I don't know.
And I do hope this leads to at least a few Kenny Omega single matches, because I like the Elite as a trio. Like their matches are good, but Kenny Omega is a great wrestler, and I'm not saying that he's been wasted in AEW, because he hasn't. He's done a lot of great things in AEW, and I'm not knocking what he's done in AEW. But if you have Kenny Omega on your roster and he's not having incredible 25-minute main event matches at least once or twice a year, there's something wrong there. So I get, we've talked about this last week, I get that he probably as an EVP doesn't want to be like, and then I go to the main event. Like I get that. Right. But don't be in the main event then. Be like third on the card and just have an incredible match with someone. Like I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega could have an incredible match with nearly anyone. So I want to see them.
Yeah. And I just thought of this right now. So throwing it back to you. Do you think we get Adam Cole coming back and then having like a Elite, like not inner feud, but like, like, hey, where's everybody's allegiance? I'm back now. Like,
Yeah, I could definitely see that because first of all, they haven't said who Adam Cole's opponent is for his first match back, so that's
True.
that's a possibility. And I do think there's still we've kind of got away from it, not in a bad way. We've gone away from it in a good way with the storyline with the Elite and Hangman and Adam Cole, and
True.
maybe it's time to revisit that whole saga again because that's always interesting.
Yeah, and I'm all in on that. Excuse the pun. Women's title match was next. Three-way dance. Saraya, Ruby Soho, Jamie Hayter. Uh, they brought it. I mean, we talked about how this could have been like a under the radar show stealer.
Yeah,
and they made a statement.
Yeah, it was a great match. Jamie Hayter is insanely over.
Insanely over, and she like again, it was a statement match. She didn't cement she didn't need to cement herself as champion, but she totally did in this match. If
Right,
that
I
makes any
agree.
sense.
I agree.
Okay. I was trying to say that in the least disrespectful way possible.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I liked how they worked the match. Like they didn't have there was no like, oh, we're gonna team up together and double team the other person for a while, and then we're gonna team up and double team. They all fought each other through the whole course of the match.
Yes, it would be like if it was like if there was somehow like a three-way MMA fight. Like
Right.
you're literally just trying to win. You don't care who's
Right.
next to you.
Right, exactly.
It was really, yes, really well done. And again, it was just different enough, like that little aspect of
right. And I
a
even loved how
typical
they did the end of the match because it was a roll up. Like it wasn't a finishing move. It was like there was chaos going on, and Hayter kind of just rolled up Ruby and won the match. So it wasn't like it was a clean win. It was a
yes.
definite win, but it wasn't a like the feud can still continue because you won with a roll up. You didn't win with a finisher, right? So
Yes,
they could keep going with this.
yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Like it was heelish enough that it can keep going,
Right.
but it wasn't like a full blown. Oh, Ruby turned halfway through the match, and uh, it was a 2-on-1. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was just heelish enough at the end to work.
And
It was
I liked the turn after the match because it made
yes,
sense. Because what I always have a problem with someone turning in the middle of a match or after a match in most cases is if you're gonna ally with this other person, why did you just spend the last 10 minutes like fighting them?
exactly.
Right? Like
Yeah.
to surprise everyone. Like you could have just not ever fought them. Right. So I like how they did it because it was kind of like she didn't want to pick sides, but then didn't win the title, saw what was going on, and was like, okay, now I have to pick a side because if
Yes.
I'm not going to pick a side, I'm going to get like beaten up every week just like everybody else. So I'm going to pick a side, and I'm
Yeah.
picking this side. It was good.
It was good, and I mean, like, oh, it's such a cool stable. I hope they really run with the ex WWE people.
Yeah,
It just
I
do
agree.
And I know, like right now, it's like all women's faction, but how absurdly ridiculous and cool would it be if somehow when Punk comes back, he would be like the secret leader, and
Right.
then that would make everything MJF said about him true.
Yeah, like it doesn't. There's no reason it has to be an all women's faction. It could easily be a
Right.
faction with. Yeah, that would be great. Or yeah, involve. And I don't want the whole of AEW to turn into like WCW versus NWO, like where everyone
Right.
picks sides. But you can have a faction with like 6 people in it that is
Yeah,
like
totally.
that can kind of cause chaos throughout the show, and that would be great. Like I would love that.
And that's what I mean. Don't get me wrong. I totally love the NWO, and I wanted there to be 20,000 members in it. But
Right.
that's what I always thought was like cool about DX. It
Right.
was like at most 4 people,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
and sometimes 5, depending on if Sean Waltman and Triple H were there,
Right. Yeah.
or Shawn Michaels was there too.
Right.
Like, there was, it was just those. it was just I don't know, like I don't know, the class clowns. Like you didn't need 1,000 people,
right.
but
This group, I know they don't call them outsiders because I'm pretty sure AEW doesn't know if they're allowed to call them
right.
the outsiders. But you'll hear them be like the so-called outsiders. So I think they're kind of testing, like, if we keep saying it and don't get sued, we're just gonna keep saying it, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
but they do remind me a little bit of like the Wolfpack half of the NWO, like the more
yes,
like angry, like cool half of the NWO versus like the the super, like the Hollywood half, where
yeah,
like they're more of
sure.
like they're more of like a rebel group, especially with Ruby Soho now. They're more of like
Oh,
the rebel offshoot group and it's great. I love it.
it's oh,
And great job. I don't know if remember when months ago when Saraya first showed up and she was feuding with Britt Baker and they had those dueling promos and Saraya kind of seemed like the heel and she seemed like she was like, but I'm
yeah.
better than you because I was in WWE. I still don't know, and I'm glad that I don't know. I don't know if like that was planned to be a face promo and it went really badly, and then they're
Oh,
like they pivoted her into a heel,
and just yeah,
or if the plan was always for her to have like little heelish tendencies to her that would get bigger and bigger. But either way, it's working out really well.
it's yeah. When I see, and this is what bothers me, and I'm not going to bash WWE too bad here, but you're seeing these people that were there
Yeah,
that obviously were held back and not let their personality fly. Like I said, like we said, I mean, Claudio cut a promo and we were like, oh
right,
my god,
right,
like, and it was like, like now Saraya, like, she's not doing anything like that. I mean, couldn't been done on WWE television. You know what I mean?
right.
She's not
Yeah,
using language like it's totally
right. It's not like oh you can't do that because it's not PG. Like she could easily do
right.
this there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just, she has a can of spray paint and it's just a typical heel. Like,
Right. Yeah.
like
Like I didn't think Tony Storm could be a heel. I thought she was
agreed.
too likable basically to be a heel. But no, she's doing a great job at it.
And her smugness is what I like.
Yeah.
Like she just gives you like the dirty look and makes you feel bad about yourself. And
Yeah. Yeah,
she's good at it.
she is a really good her like facial expressions are great.
And it really blows my mind to go to the performance center and learn how to do this. I mean,
Right. And
you
like
had
it's
thought,
I saw someone say that like, oh, Tony Storm willingly left. Like she didn't get fired from WWE. She left.
yes,
Right. So, oh, why is she defending, WWE? She's not defending WWE. She's just saying she's better than you because she worked there. Right.
right,
Like that's what they're saying. None of them are defending
yeah,
WWE. None of them are saying like, oh, that
right,
company is better than AEW. They're not. They're just saying like we are better than you because we
yeah.
worked at
We
like this
made a
obviously well-known company.
corporation,
Right.
yeah,
Like
and made like way more money. Like that,
right.
they're and oh, it's so good, so good.
And it's perfect that the the originals or the homegrown, whatever they're calling them, are the faces because they're the
Yes,
lesser known names. And it's always kind of hard to have the face group be less well known. But because they are so established in AEW, it's
right.
very easy for them to be faces. And it's working out great.
And I mean, I mean, me and you talked about this privately, but I mean, this is obviously leading to women's blood and guts,
Yeah, I
correct?
really hope so.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
uh, and
I love this storyline. I really want to know what happens.
oh, I really hope it happens in Pittsburgh, but it's not going to. But
Blood and Guts was what last year? It was like May.
um,
I know the original one was supposed to be in March because it got canceled because of COVID.
yeah, I think it was. I do believe it was May. Yeah, because
Yeah, it was
the,
May 5th. The first one was May 5th. The second one was June 29th. So it's May,
okay,
June-ish.
okay. Well, so Pittsburgh's right in April. Damn it. Oh well. Um, Well, I don't think 2 rings would fit the Peterson Center.
It'll have to be a big
Raptors.
arena. Like the last time they had it was in Detroit, where the Red Wings play. Like it'll have to be a big enough arena to fit the 2 rings in the cage.
Yeah, like the Peterson is about the size of the arena that you saw it at. So
right. Yeah. It probably wouldn't fit.
Or they would lose all the floor seats.
Right.
Like the building would really look small.
Yeah.
Moving right along, we had.
Speaking of blood and guts,
we had Mox and Hangman in the Texas Death Match. I love the way that AEW didn't explain what their version of the Texas Death Match was going to be.
Right.
I mean, obviously you know what it is, but sometimes there's barbed wire rope, sometimes it was basically no holds barred and barbed wire and weapons and typical hardcore match.
But, yeah, and it was another one where they did little changes to it. Like from what I remember, and I don't know if that was WWE's version or what. I've seen a version of a Texas Death Match where you have to pin the person and then they have 10 seconds to get up.
Yeah.
Like it was 10 seconds after the pinfall.
Yeah, this was either you answered the 10 count or you had to submit.
Right, correct? Which I like. Yeah. I think that's a good way to do it too.
Again, just different enough, like you said.
Yeah.
It was.
And I don't remember seeing a Texas Death Match where you could submit.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, because it always was like the brutality. Like
it was always like you couldn't answer the 10 count, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I like adding the submission aspect to it.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think like it makes it more of a sport. Like you tap someone out in UFC, you can win the belt. Like
right. And there is why would they have a fight where you can't quit? Like if you want to quit, you should be able to. Right? Like
it's a WWE sanction. It's like your contract.
Right.
It's only
they can stop. They can stop the match, but you can't leave the match
at any given time. They can stop the match, but you can't.
Yes.
This match was, again, it's gonna sound stupid, but this was like the best violence that it could have.
Can we just get to the fork part?
Yeah,
like the part where he stabbed him with a fork in the head. Like I think he legitimately stabbed him in the fork with. Like that was.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
If you looked at Mox after it was over, like there was legit blood splatter on his chest. So
right. Yeah.
He either like caught him once and then was just like hitting his hand off it, causing the splatter, or he actually got him a couple times.
Yeah, that was. It was a bit much, but like it fit.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It fit with this match because they both said, "Hey, we don't know what's gonna happen."
Yeah,
like you're letting us fight, we're gonna fight.
My only small knock, I liked the match, like I enjoyed it. My only small knock on it was I wish it would have been more like fight, like trying to versus like, and now I'm gonna do this with barbed wire. Okay, well I'm gonna do this with barbed. Like it seemed a little bit like they went to the barbed wire for me, they went to barbed wire a little too much when like they could have just like punched each other a lot. Like it was it's a small issue. Like I didn't hamper my enjoyment of the match. It just seemed a little like I thought it was going to be more of like a wild brawl, at least for part of it, and it wasn't really. But it was still a very good match.
Yes. Little funny anecdote during this match, my one buddy Brett, his friend came in to drop some stuff off for him. So he missed the first couple minutes of the match, and like we were just hanging out talking when he came back in, and like he came in, and just like he's the guy that doesn't watch wrestling, so his he saw the women's match before this, so he walks back into the living room and he sees a pile of bricks, chain, a fork, and 2 bloody men, and he's like, "Why'd you guys let me leave? What did I miss?"
Nice.
Like, well, it was great.
This is one of those matches where like I hope my wife didn't walk in on me. Well, it didn't happen, but I hope she didn't. Like she'd be like, "What are you watching? What's happening here?"
Yeah. Oh, why are there bricks?
Thought this was a wrestling match. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, it's Texas Death Match. Of course there's bricks. I don't know.
The only knock I had on the bricks was like nobody knows. Most people don't know what it's like to be like hit with barbed wire. You imagine it hurting, right? But you don't
Yes.
know how much it hurts or how you
Correct.
react to that. And like you don't know how it feels necessarily to be like hit with a chair repeatedly. Like you imagine it hurting, but like you haven't experienced it. But most people know that if you get hit in the head with a brick, like
Yeah,
you
like it's game
you
over.
you're probably dead.
Yeah.
Right? So like the fact that wasn't the finish, Hangman like hit him in the head with a brick, and then like a
Yeah.
minute later, Moxie's walking around. I'm like, nah, that doesn't check out. Like he shouldn't be
Yeah.
walking. I get that he's tough, but like he got hit in the head with a brick. So
Right.
like,
Right.
I get like falling on barbed wire and getting back up because yeah, it would hurt a
Right.
lot, but you could get back up. But
Yes.
like getting hit in the face with a brick, like that should just kill you. That should be the end of it.
Yeah, I mean it's game over right there.
Yeah. Someone hit me with a
Uh,
brick right now, like I'm just dead. Like there's no like I'm so
totally.
tough. I can nope. Fate, you got hit with a brick. There's no being tough. Like,
Yeah. It was insane.
it was
And
insane. Like the fact that they even did this was insane.
um but like you said earlier, it all made sense. It wasn't
Yes.
just like the old like ECW like just violence for the sake of violence. Like
Right.
this made sense. It was the payoff, the end of this was
Yes.
that.
And what I really one thing I really like, two things. First of all, I like that Hangman literally hung him, and that's his name,
Yes.
which I
Yeah.
thought was great. And that Mox tapped out, not like
Yes.
passed out. So it showed how
Yes.
tough Hangman is because he actually made him
He
tap
made
out,
him quit. Yeah.
and Moxley, got hit with a brick and didn't tap out. So
Not,
it took a lot. But I also like that I don't think they're going to go back to it anytime soon. I think this is done for the time being. But there's always a chance, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now, they could come back and go, hey, it's 2-2.
true.
Right? Like they could always revisit this whenever they want to now, because yes, this was a brutal like blow off match, but they could be rivals forever and always, never really get rid of one another.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point. If they make it, if they ever bring it up that it's 2-2, that's something they could just keep in their back pocket in case like someone gets hurt.
Right.
Like maybe Mox is supposed to wrestle Danielson or something, and Danielson breaks his leg.
Right.
You could just have Mox come, or you could just have Hangman come out and be like, "Hey, you know,
we never
blah,
had
blah,
that.
blah.
We're even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you don't lose your main event. So yeah, that's a good thing to have.
Right. It's always an option now. And I
Yeah,
don't think they'll do it anytime soon, because I think
totally. Yeah,
this
you
was the
sit
blow
on
off.
that.
I actually hope that Mox takes time off because he deserves time off.
100%.
And like this is, if you're going to be written off the show for a while, like getting hit with a brick and then being hung with by a chain is like a pretty good way to be like, he needs a bit of time, right? So
yeah,
he did get hung on TV. So
yes, he did.
I guess the word is hanged. He did get hanged on TV. But yeah, I hope he takes some time off. I don't know what Hangman does next. I mean, he could possibly go after the title too.
True. Yeah, like we said last week or 2 weeks ago, MJF did tweet out or Instagram the picture of his quote unquote list,
right,
of who he was going to take out. So,
but I like your idea of going back to the elite thing a little bit. That would also be good.
I mean, it makes a little bit of sense that everybody is finally healthy, and there is that wild card that nobody knows about in Jay White. I mean,
right. Yeah, nobody knows what he's going to do, but if they could get him, that would be great.
It would be great, and it would just add more to the story. So,
right.
Well,
but without Bobby Fish, can you really do it without Bobby Fish?
I don't know. Dude's still waiting for the crowd to react to that promo he cut through 4 months ago. Wow, I just killed Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish kind of killed himself.
Yeah, I definitely did. Excuse me. TNT title match. The King of Television, Samoa Joe versus Wardlow. I think this match totally did what it was supposed to do. It wasn't super long. but I mean, they went, they beat the heck out of each other, actually.
Yeah, and you're right that it did what it was supposed to do, because not only is it like two big guys destroying each other, but it was following the Texas Death Match. So like whatever level of violence they got to wouldn't be the level of violence of that match. Like, so it's good that they kind of just like slugged at each other for a while. Like it made sense.
And like, again, since every match had story, I didn't even think about till this second that it followed that.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't even realize that. That's wow. That's wow, storytelling, huh?
I also love how, I mean, there was no breaks. There was no like recap videos or catch up. Like for the last hour of the show, like I had to go to the washroom, but I'm like, I can't leave, right? Like there's no.
Yeah, you can't pause.
Yeah, like your buddy left for a bit and he missed half a match. Like that's just how it went. Like it wasn't like a not to knock WWE, because I get the feud recap videos, because especially at like WrestleMania, where like maybe people weren't watching the whole year, so it makes sense to do a little video to catch people up, because maybe they haven't seen the show in a year, right? But this was like match. It was like wall to wall entertainment.
Yeah. And the crowd appreciated this match. This was one of the few, I don't know if you noticed, I even made a note. It was one of the few 50-50 crowds.
Right.
Like it wasn't, I mean, of course every match has somebody always likes the heel in every match. I mean, it's just, there's always that fan.
Right.
But this was a legit 50-50 crowd. I mean, there was the "Let's go Wardlow, let's go Joe."
Yeah.
Yeah,
even the Hangman Mox match before it, like the crowd was clearly more behind Hangman.
Yeah.
Even though there was, obviously Mox has fans, but it was more of a pro Hangman crowd.
And let's Wardlow using Joe's move to tap him out. I thought that was
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it to be a tap out. I thought it was good. I just didn't expect it.
Yeah, it gave Wardlow a little dimension.
Yeah.
And it also like was basically like a little middle finger to the face of Joe. Like, okay, you want this to be personal? I'll tap you out with your own move.
Especially because Joe earlier had tried to do the Powerbomb Symphony.
Yes. Oh yeah, I didn't even put that together. Wow, man, dude.
So what do you think this means? Like, what do you think happens with Wardlow and Hobbs?
It's as soon as this match ended, I was like, okay, it's now Will Hobbs' time. He's gonna win, but I don't know now.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted Hobbs. I thought Hobbs would win. I want Hobbs to win, but do you have Wardlow lose 4 days or whatever after he just won the title again?
Right, and especially after you can kind of make up for his awful run.
Right. Yeah, by giving him another good run. Yeah.
Now, if they make this a I was trying to think how they could do this. Okay, obviously it's not a cash in moment. Like his match, their match is tomorrow.
Right. It's like a set match, like a regular. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they're a legit time limit draw, so they have to go again, and then you could stretch it out a little bit.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Not saying stretch it out until Double or Nothing in May.
No, I'd say to Battle of the Belts or something would be good.
Yeah, you could be like, okay, you went to the 20-minute time limit draw, and then you have a week or two of promos back and forth yelling at each other, maybe a sit down interview, and like you said, go right into Battle of the Belts, which is early April, so that's only a few weeks.
Yeah.
Wow,
that makes a lot of sense. And then Hobbs can win. It's not like, oh, Wardlow immediately lost the title. Yeah.
Right. And throughout their have Wardlow destroying people.
Right.
As as title defenses, but just not against Hobbs.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, let's go.
That makes a lot of sense. I would like to see that. Because I do think Hobbs should win the title.
Same here. And not that Wardlow is undeserving, but it's the poor guy struggled to get to where he was, and then he won the title, and then just didn't see him for like
Right.
4 weeks. It was weird.
And then Hobbs would have something to carry around that like doesn't look ridiculous.
That's not a stupid little book.
He's not carrying a book or like a giant ring. He would have like a title that he could hold, and it would look a lot better.
Oh, that's what that should be Hobbs' gimmick. He should just carry a bunch of random stuff in the ring.
Yeah, just like doesn't get rid of the old stuff. Like has the book and the ring and a belt. And
Yeah,
like, later he
keeps
beats the guy
adding.
and like takes his jacket, and then he has a jacket too. And like he'll take like Orange Cassidy's sunglasses and he's carrying those around.
But by the end of it, he just has like a shopping cart full of like random things he wheels to the ring. It's amazing.
That reminds me of Raven. Raven did that in WWE. He would bring out a shopping cart full of weapons. I loved it.
Yeah, I forget he did do that. Tag title match: the Guns, your boy Jay Lethal, and Double J Jeff Jarrett. Which, speaking of, I just found this out. Did you watch his AEW?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, first off, watch it. It's hilarious because I didn't realize that him and RJ City obviously knew each other.
Right.
And it's amazing. He also, he can't even spell his own name. Like it's in his WWE, or it's like WWE owns the spelling of his name.
Like he can't spell it like JEFF JARR.
Yeah. So that's how RJ City opens the that's how he opens AEW. He was like, just curious, Jeff. How does one spell Jeff Jarrett? And it was like he says GEOFF. Like it does it real funny.
But I'm assuming he can spell it, but not like double
not the,
F.
like yeah.
He could say like JEFF. He just can't say JE double
He can't
F.
say the little gimmick. Yeah.
Right.
And it was so great.
That's insane that they could like trademark a way you spell your name.
When you have enough money, you can trademark anything. Well, yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. I'll talk to you about this off air one time.
Because like that's his actual name too.
Yeah, like well, you can't own letters, but apparently you can. I don't know. Like it's unbelievable. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, Orange Cassidy and Danhausen versus the Acclaimed.
Yes.
All I want to say is the world was introduced to real Danhausen now.
Yes.
And I think he surprised the heck of a lot of people.
That he could actually wrestle, yeah.
Yes. And I mean, now I kind of feel bad for him because he had the world in his palm of his hands. Now he has to like actually take bumps and get hurt.
Right. Now people are like, oh wait, this whole time he could have been wrestling? Wait a second.
Yeah.
Now I want to see that.
Like
I was all down for him just like standing around and making jokes, but he could actually wrestle. Okay, now we need more.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you had it figured out, man.
But Danhausen and Satnam Singh were the stars of this match for me.
Yeah,
both of them.
Satnam Singh in general is hilarious.
Yes.
Just real quick, Sammy's vlog came out today, and they were backstage doing a bit with 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, and Satnam Singh totally just like interrupts the whole thing. And like he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you filming." And 2.0 goes, one of 2.0 says something like, "Where's Jeff Jarrett?" And Satnam just like he loses it. And it was so funny the way that he just like first off he felt bad that he walked in on it, and then 2.0 is hilarious.
Yes.
And then he just loses. It was great. Anyways, I agree with you. Orange Cassidy, Danhausen, and Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. They were amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
The Ass Boy chants were very very loud, even though AEW made sure to let people know they weren't allowed to do that.
I love that the letter that the Guns left out, like being like, "Do not chant this; it makes people upset."
It was so incredible. Like,
that's amazing.
If you don't know, people like that were at the show, like AEW printed out like like an official message
from the Guns, yeah.
And it was on everybody's seat that you were not allowed to chant the Ass Boys. Oh,
that's amazing.
And again, the little touches.
Yeah.
Like you take the time to do that. I mean, I wasn't even there and I enjoyed it.
Right.
Like I saw a picture of it on Twitter and it made my day. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
This was a good, like, this wasn't like a 5-star match, but no one thought it would be.
Right.
Like, much like the Wardlow Joe match, like it was what it should have been, and it did its job. It was entertaining. Like at no point was I like bored by the match. Like it was entertaining. The finish was weird.
The finish was weird, but before we get there, when you have a few adult beverages in you and you're full of pizza and Orange Cassidy does the Jeff Jarrett strut, I thought that was the greatest moment in television history. I died. It was amazing. And real quick, Max Caster is, well, him and Bowen's just great tag team in general.
Yes.
But Max is really starting to show his wrestling ability.
Right.
And I don't want to say that he's going to be like a huge single star one day, but if they keep letting him, I don't want to say they're going to break up the Acclaim because that's not what I'm leading to, but if they keep letting him shine, people are going to want to see more of him. That's there
right.
You go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. If we are, I think one of us called that there was going to be an FTR return, and they took it to the bank.
Yes.
So I'm batting
500. Though I think if you say they should be in the match, then they're not in the match. I don't know if that counts, but
true.
I'll let you have it.
That's true. Well, I mean, you know, I like the way that they had them return too.
Yeah, I definitely do. But I thought it was weird that they, like, Aubrey took the guitar away from Max Cat. Like, why would she do that? Because she didn't take it away from Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, it was
weird.
It was
weird. It was a weird. Again, little things. Like I'm nitpicking on these matches because they were all entertaining. Like the whole night was good. But it was a little weird. But that's fine. Like
hey, live and learn.
Yes.
But
FTR coming back was great, especially because everyone was 100% sure that they were leaving. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were signed, sealed, and delivered for Mania. I mean, did you read the internet?
That's right.
I mean, jeez. Now, just talk about that real quick. Well, not that real quick. Again, I understand that some of our listeners are younger and didn't only know WWE, how there's really no cohesive story. The Guns winning the titles now makes 1,000% perfect sense.
Yes.
And they, not unfortunately, I don't know why I'm saying that. They have now established themselves as super uber heels because, of course, everybody loves FTR.
Right.
FTR comes back after the Guns do not shenanigans. Like I said, it was just heelish enough to win.
Right.
But they come in with a little, it's so well done.
And the Guns seem more legitimate now because a few months ago we had a FTR Guns match, and the Guns did win that match they had against FTR, whenever that was, a few months ago. But everyone was like, "What? That was weird." But now it seems like it's obviously if they had FTR will end up winning the titles eventually.
Yes.
But it seems like it's a bit more of a real match now. If that makes any sense, like.
Yeah, that's why the rematch didn't happen.
The Guns are closer to their level than they were before.
Yes. And
I kind of hope FTR doesn't win right away. I hope they don't win next week or something. I hope it drags out a little bit where the Guns are, avoid them or.
That's what I was just going to say. You'll have the Guns avoid them now. They're going to play the total heels.
Yeah.
They'll have Austin missed his flight or
right.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Well, we're approaching the 60-minute mark. So let's hit the main event, which was a 60-minute Iron Man match. Is right. I mean, standing ovation all around to MJF and Bryan Danielson.
Yes. I honestly don't even know what to say. It was such a good match. So many little things, so many major parts, all of it was so good.
And it started with MJF's entrance.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is just on.
And
He's
I did
so good.
and
Oh,
I didn't notice it, but the internet noticed it. When Danielson came out, you see him tug at Justin Roberts' tie a little bit,
yeah.
referencing when I don't know if you remember when the Nexus attacked everybody and they
Oh
beat everyone,
yeah.
and he choked out Justin Roberts with his tie and got fired over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I
was just a
forgot
cute.
about
It was just a cute little reference to be like, well, I can do this now. Like it was fun.
that. I totally forgot about that.
I missed it completely, but the internet noticed it.
Wow. Way to go, internet.
Yeah.
Um, the the chain wrestling at the beginning of this match. I mean, obviously MJF knows how to wrestle. Like,
Yes.
come on.
Yeah. You
But
actually forget about how MJF knows how to wrestle though, because
yeah.
of his character.
But I mean, you forgot that real quick because I mean they were going hold for hold, reversal for reversal. It was a masterclass of chain wrestling, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, the way that MJF in a pure wrestling match can still control the crowd, I thought that was that pure talent. I mean, this is people can yell at me if they want, but this is like Rock, Cena, Austin level of like controlling the crowd. Like
Yeah.
he does a simple little punch and then the Shawn Michaels pose.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like you do
Yeah.
the Shawn Michaels pose, everybody knows why you're doing it.
Right.
And of course everybody's gonna react because everyone recognizes it.
Right.
So good. Ah,
And this match had another little tweak, the lack of a break between falls, and they really worked that out well too.
yeah. Like
Like they
I was
used
very
that really well.
yeah. It when they first announced that they weren't gonna do that, I was very confused on how that was gonna work. Like I just thought like that somebody could like well count to six and then get like two pins. You
Right.
know what I mean? But it wasn't like that.
Yeah,
But
but
it
they
was
used it really
still
well.
they used it really almost like a real fight. Like
Right.
you blur the lines between reality and fiction, and there you go.
And even MJF continuously going out of the ring. Like I don't want to go through the whole match because it's
Right,
an hour
right.
and we won't do it justice. Going
Totally.
like just watch it if you haven't. Like if for some reason
Yes.
you're listening to this podcast but haven't seen the match, like turn us off. We're not important. Watch the match.
Yeah.
It's
You
amazing.
watched.
Then you
Yes.
can do this later, but the match itself is
Totally.
great.
It was. I mean,
But like MJF going out to get water every so often, like throughout the match, I'm just like, why do they keep doing that? Like, what's the point of this? Other than him just being a heel, like why are they doing it? But then when you got to the actual finish where he went out of the ring and the referee didn't even care that he was like
right.
under the ring doing something, you'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why, because
Yeah.
he trained everyone to think, oh, every time he goes out of the ring and goes under the ring, he's just getting water. We don't have to care what he's doing, right? But
Exactly.
yeah,
And also, like in the history of wrestling, why has no other opponent ever thought of putting water under the ring
right,
for hydration during the
right,
match? I mean, that was genius.
yeah.
I also I didn't write the actual timestamp down, but the first fall I thought was timed really well.
Yeah, it was like 20-ish minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't too early, it wasn't too late because I hate whenever it's like in an Iron Man match because everybody knows it's going to overtime. I mean, first and foremost, we're going to set that standard right there.
Right.
So I hate when it's like, oh, there's 5 minutes left and nobody got a pin, and then somebody
Right.
gets a pin. Well, someone's like,
right.
It's
it was a realistic time frame because if they had just had a singles match, like about 20 minutes is probably how long that match would go.
Right.
So like it wouldn't make sense for Danielson to pin him in 5 minutes, and it wouldn't make sense for it to take an hour to get the pin. Yeah, it made perfect sense, and the number of falls made sense too because it was 3-3 going into overtime. So you figure one fall every 20 minutes or so. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what would happen. It worked.
And well, going to that, I Shivani getting to announce the overtime, like
yes,
he either really hates MJF or dude should get an Oscar because he was the happiest human being. Just he was like, I'll be right back.
It was great. It was a great way to do it too. That like Justin Roberts didn't do it first. He announced that it was a draw. Yeah,
and I mean, like I said, everybody saw that coming. Like that's just the way Iron Man matches work.
Right.
And again, when my one buddy doesn't watch wrestling, me and my other buddy Cody were explaining it to him, and he was like, well, if you know that, then why don't they just, like, to throw you guys a curveball, like, why don't they have somebody one time just be like, there's 15 minutes left and he's up 10-1? And I
Right.
was like, that would be awesome, actually.
Yeah, they should
Like,
do it once just to do it. Yeah.
and like, if they would ever do like a rematch of this, have Danielson just destroy him.
Right. Yeah.
You know, be like, oh, well, I learned so much from last time. Oh, I'm sure you did. And then be like, okay, it's 30 minutes in. Danielson pinned him 8 times already.
Right.
Like, that would seriously be cool, because sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch UFC, like, there could be a title match that's 15 seconds long.
Right.
You know, or a Super Bowl that's 55-0. Like,
Right.
sometimes a blowout happens.
Yeah.
And that, someone needs to do that. I can't believe no company has ever done that, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Another
anyway,
thing that I really liked, and I forget, someone pointed this out online too, the referee taking the title away from MJF when he was trying to hit Danielson with it in overtime, and taking the diamond ring away from him.
yeah,
Because then when he hit him with the oxygen tank, it wasn't like, oh, the referee is an idiot and is just like allowing him to cheat. Like, he tried to stop him from cheating. MJF was just better at cheating than he could, so he couldn't get caught. But like, the ref was good. MJF had to cheat, had to be even sneakier. Like,
extra cheat. Oh,
yeah.
See, I didn't even put
every like, I need to watch it again, because the more I've watched like watched clips or read people's reviews or read what people think of it, there's so many little things throughout the whole, and I'm sure there's a ton more that I haven't even heard of or noticed. They did. I mentioned it to you, but when we were doing the preview, oh, is there any chance that it could be like you get tired because it's going to be late and an hour long, and like you would, but no, they made it more interesting as the match went on. Not like there was no point where I was just like, oh, I'm tired. Too bad this is an hour. I'd like to go. I wish it was over in 20 minutes. Like, the match got better as it went later.
It got better, and it took you on such a ride. The match doesn't feel like 1 hour.
No, not at all.
I mean, it doesn't fly by either, but it keeps your interest. It's like when you watch a good movie and you don't realize that it's been 2.5 hours.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You're just so into it. Yeah. Now,
like, there was a point when, like, I forget where it was, where the crowd was like banging the along to the guardrail to something, like cheering, and I noticed that I was like banging my chair, and then I was like, well, I'm not home, right? And like, I'm so into it that, like, it was great. Was it the best Iron Man match like ever?
It's the best one that I personally have ever seen.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, Brett and Sean is very good. And Brett and Sean held the torch, in my opinion, until this.
Yeah.
So it took that long to be surpassed.
Yeah.
And they both have their high points and low points, to each their own. But I think this is better, just because this is like. I mean, this had the whole. It was like the Brett and Sean story. Like, it had the whole story.
And throughout the whole match, it was a story. It wasn't just like a wrestling match. Like, there was reasons for everything they did all through. Yeah, I think it's the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. And I didn't think that was like, I love Bryan Danielson. He's an amazing wrestler. Yes. But to say this, like, even the idea of saying, oh, this is better than Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, like, that sounds ludicrous to think. But like, no, it is. It is. Like, it's just.
I mean, well,
and they're two of the best wrestlers probably in history, Bret and Sean, and this match, surpassed it. And not just like, you can watch, how older matches don't always hold up as well because they're older. I don't think it's not the course of time that has made this match better. I just think this match was incredible.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And you said something that everything in this match had meaning. So I'm going to throw it to you. Every time MJF said that he was the best in the world.
Yeah, he said it a lot.
Yes, he did. Is that some foreshadowing?
I don't know if it's foreshadowing. I hope it's foreshadowing. Or
Okay, I'll take that.
Or it could be him just like being a total jerk and knowing what that sounds like, so he's doing it like as a character. I mean, but I really do hope it's foreshadowing. There was still a part of me that really thought that after the match ended, someone was going to come out. Hopefully, CM Punk.
I was with you on that.
I get why they didn't, because first of all, they both had to sell, or probably were sell being exhausted. So you're not going to stand up and like have a promo battle with someone after this match. And I think they didn't want to take away from what the match was by having someone else kind of overshadow it.
And I never thought of that. And that, I bet you're totally right. That makes perfect sense. Like, we just put on a master class, no matter, even if you had, something as big as a CM Punk return, then you're basically overshadowing your match with that. So like let them have their moment.
Yeah. And even though I thought someone was going to come out because it's MJF, he's the heel, right? So like the crowd was kind of more quiet after like he tapped Danielson out with his own move, which no one really expected to happen. And I thought Danielson was going to pass out, like when he looked like he was going to tap out and then raise his arm and everyone went nuts. I thought they were going to be cheering, and then he was going to drop his arm again and pass out, and that was going to be ending. I think the tap out was even better because, as Taz mentioned, like sometimes you just get caught in a move and it's not, what are you going to do? Right. So the crowd was kind of quieter after that happened, and they could have been like, now we're going to liven them back up again with, CM Punk or Adam Cole or something. But I think it might have taken away, and not that people would have forgot the match, but the headline the next day would have been, this happens at the end of the pay-per-view, not how great was that match.
And I agree with that. And it was just so good, man.
Now, my question for you, was this AEW's best pay-per-view?
In my opinion, yeah. I mean, I thought that, in my humble opinion, I gave this a 10 out of 10. I mean, I totally, wholeheartedly enjoyed every minute of it. That's not me being a fanboy. That's not anything. That was me. I purchased this, and I wholeheartedly had that much fun watching it.
Yeah, I agree. I think my favorite pay-per-view up until this was probably Full Gear 2021, or All Out. The 2021 All Out was also great, but I think Full Gear was probably one of my favorite pay-per-views ever. But I think this surpassed it. I think there was not a single thing on this card that I didn't like, that didn't entertain me, that didn't, like, from the minute it started. Even the pre-show was good. Like, from the minute it started to the minute it ended, I was completely entertained for 4 straight hours. It was great.
1000%. There's really not much left to say. I enjoyed it. We have Dynamite tomorrow, and I mean, so much can happen. And like I said, I think tomorrow we're going to see a lot of setup. I think we're going to see a lot of new stuff starting.
It is one of the shows where, just like the Dynamite a few weeks ago, I forget when it was, when like the card looked kind of weak, but then the one that ended with Evil Uno and Mox, like the card looked slightly weak, but the match, the setup and the stories they told were great. I think this is another show like that. Like, they have announced some matches, but none of them are like, oh my God, I have to see that match.
Right. Totally.
But I do think they're gonna go really. I don't know where they're gonna go. I'm assuming you're right. I think there are going to be different storylines. It's not just going to be a continuation of the story, because this did seem like a closing of a chapter. But it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm all about it. This was our review episode. So hope you enjoyed it. Do you have anything to add, sir, before we pack up?
No, that's it. I think we've said what we needed to say or wanted to say, and it's very exciting. Very 100. I don't think anyone can watch that show who's a wrestling fan, even if you haven't even seen AEW, but having seen AEW obviously makes it better.
Right.
I don't think anyone can watch that show and say that they were in any way disappointed. Like, maybe you didn't like certain aspects of it, like, but like the whole show as a whole was incredible.
Yeah, like if you were going to complain about it, then you're the kind of person that's just going to complain about everything anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah, I could see someone being like, "Oh, I didn't like the Texas death match because it was too violent or whatever." Fine.
Yeah.
There's individual aspects you can say you didn't like, but like as a show, like that was we've said before, like that was a statement type show.
Yeah. And going back to like, I know people don't like Max and this, that, and the other. Going back to what I said earlier about the guns, if you just go along for the ride and let things play out, everything is done for a reason.
Agreed. Like, definitely.
I mean, I'm totally happy with the way that it ended, but I know some people, like, of course, you don't want the heel to always win. But I mean, I just like the stories and pro wrestling in general, so I just want to be entertained. But I know some people want their person to win. But yeah, Max winning makes perfect sense, and I don't know, you might find out 4 months from now why he won.
Yeah, and I want to know where this goes. Like, is Danielson off for a little bit now? Like, is he going to take some time off, or is he going to be back next week? Or we don't know. So
and what's up with the BCC? Their two head honchos both quit.
They both tapped out in their matches. Yeah,
so I hope we find out tomorrow.
Yes.
So on that note, thank you for listening. We're going to be back Thursday. We're going to record Thursday. Our show will be a normal show. Will be back at its normal time. This was just a little recap about the pay-per-view. So on that note, thank you for listening. We are at Elite City Pod everywhere on all social media. Follow, like, subscribe, and do you have anything to add, sir? Or?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay. Well,
thanks for listening.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for listening. And until next time, later.